were challenges in the economy, but what the president was emphatic was that the measures put in place, he's very optimistic that very soon our economy, the Ghanaian economy, will bounce back.
Right.
I think if we had played the video of, maybe we don't have, and I believe where you are, very soon you understand some of this debate, my brother, you come to realize that no, sometimes we've been playing politics, but that is the reality that we have to face. In my school and the course I'm doing LLB, my final year, I did taxation. And I've read the history of taxation and how it is all about. Without it, no country can move on.
I see.
Without taxation, no country can move on. And the purpose of it is, if today the world or any other country decide not to tax its people, do you know that some people who cannot survive? Because in society, by creation, we are not equal. Some are more stronger than others. Some are more beautiful than others. Some are more wealthier than others. That is nature. And there's no way you can't fight anybody about it. But long before, in centuries, then philosophers and critical thinkers came out and said, no, why don't we decide to put something in the silver or the bucket that belongs to all of us? Imagine where I'm coming from. I mean, if not because of taxation or collection of tax, which government imposes, implemented by government agency for public purposes, I doubt whether some rural area or some communities or villages would have even seen electricity for generations. Not only in Ghana, in other countries. But I don't worry my brothers or my friends with the politics they have taken it. Of course, that is what they are supposed to do because you expect them to do that. But I want an NDC member or an opposition member to tell me, in spite of all the criticisms leveled against e-levy, the implementation of it, I haven't heard any member of NDC conceding or accepting the fact that, fine, e-levy has been implemented and is now law with us, which will take effect on May. That if we get the opportunity, that is our friends in the umbrella, if we get the opportunity one day to steer the affairs of this country, we will scrap e-levy. I haven't heard any member
think that
of the
General
NDC
Secretary of the NDC has indicated that.
Who?
The General Secretary
Oh,
of the NDC has
maybe
indicated
if you give me the link or refer me, I'll go and read it. But I've listened several interviews with General Mosquito, and I have not heard him. And I've listened to my brother on many platforms, but I've not heard him. Even I've listened to former President Mama, but I've not heard any of them telling us that if they get the opportunity to manage the affairs of this country again, they will indeed scrap e-levy, which is now a law with us. But I haven't heard. But that is to tell you that though they are criticized, but within them, they know the importance. Of course. Let me tell you, everywhere you go, people are calling for development.
Right.
They are calling for better roads. People are calling for better hospitals. People are calling for irrigational facilities, etc., etc. And you and I know that nobody has that money. Like the president doesn't have, even by the law, the president doesn't have that money.
I want to ask you just two questions.
Just ask the question. You can ask any question. I'm ready to answer you.
The very first question I'll ask you, in terms of your submission, has to do with the fact that prior to the 2016 election, when the New Patriotic Party was in opposition, and President Akufo-Addo was then presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, we heard him say that the previous government, I'm talking about the John Dramani Mahama government, was burdening Ghanaians with unnecessary taxes. And that MPP government would not tax the good people of Ghana, but rather would move the economy from taxation to production. Now, in your argument, you have also said that we can only develop the state by taxing the good people of Ghana, because the president doesn't have that money to be able to, back on developmental drive. Now, my question on that one to you is that prior to the 2016 elections, once again, President Akufo-Addo was heard loud and clear telling the good people of Ghana that yet is a castle, now a comedy. We're sitting on money, yet at the time we're actually hungry. Where was the money?
No,
Where did he see that money?
But let me ask, are you okay?
Yes.
So can I come in?
You can go ahead.
Yeah, number one, let me be very frank with you. You take certain decisions based on the exigencies of the time.
Okay.
I hope you are getting
what are the exigencies of today?
Today, not until recently, we used not to sit like the way we are sitting, but now we would have all been in nose masks, with our nose masks here. Is that not, you know, it's not normal.
Right.
And you know, you do also agree that COVID has affected the global economy, of which Ghana is part. You know that. And you know because of that, the economy of other countries, including Ghana, has shrunk. I hope you are getting the argument. That is not probably, and I can confidently tell you, maybe we wouldn't have been where we are today if by 2017, 2018, 2019, how things were going without COVID. Maybe we wouldn't have
How were you performing? What was your performance?
No, but
2017, 2018, 2019, before 2020.
2017,
2018, 2019, before COVID. What was your performance?
That is why sometimes when you ask a question, I always fight with you here. Allow me the time to flow. Then you follow up with your question.
You can
but
go
when
ahead.
you also call, let us know the broad area of the subject. So we prepare. I would have brought you the data and the fundamentals.
I gave you that.
No. But they were not specific. But I can still answer your question.
You can go ahead.
Can Google. Now everything is here. Google the inflation, economic growth of 2017, 2018 up to 2019. I hope you are getting the argument. And then as compare it to where we picked it in 2016. And then you see the difference, which you know.
Okay.
But that is that we can't talk in isolations. I hope you are getting the argument.
Right.
But the reality on the matter is that if you are a leader in a critical times, you have to show a way. I hope you are getting my argument. So nobody should think that it is because of lack of ideas. Even as a result of creativity, some of these things, what were you expecting? For the opposition to keep quiet? Because when some of the taxes were scrapped and some of them were reduced in 2017 to 2018, that one you not mention it here because you don't want to mention it. But that it also happened in our history. It happened under President Nana Addo Dankwa. But moving forward, when things happen beyond the control of government, but the society must grow, the society must develop, what do? You open and let the people know the truth, of which I have intimated that without COVID probably we wouldn't have been where we are because Ghanaian economy was not strike and we're not in a very difficult situation. But Justice, let me be very quick to say that. Look, sometimes we just tend to just blame and blame for nothing. Okay. And we all know government is a continuation process. And I always challenge my friends in NDC. How robust was the economy when you left office?
Fantastic.
I'm coming. You were talking of borrowing. Didn't you borrow? And when you borrow, the next person who inherited will have to service the debt. Do you care to ask yourself, how is the debt being serviced? You are not asking yourself. You ask yourself, when you were living, certain projects were under constructions, of which payment were not done. And government has to pay those projects to see to it that those projects are completed for the people of Ghana to benefit from those projects. Now, those projects have been financed, they have been completed, Ghanaians are benefiting them. You are not asking yourself, where is government getting money to complete those projects? You also know, let's be very frank and sometimes just look at ourselves as Ghanaians and don't let the politics take a center stage. And let me tell you something. You and I know, in our reading, in our interaction, in our research, long before now, the mineral and the natural resources that we have, we've not been able to get the best of it since independence up to now as a result of our contractual agreement. You go there, we don't have anything. We have discovered oil. People have to come with their money to do the extraction and get their oil. You go to the percentage that is being negotiated. You know it is not good, it's not big enough, but what can you do? So I want a conversation at a point that maybe if we are in a very better shape, then we can revisit some of this contractual agreement. Elsewhere, others who have gotten to a point they have taken their destiny into their own hands. We have extracted gold in this country several years today. But even go to the mining areas, how developed are this area? Do you care to ask yourself how much percentage is government of Ghana getting from those contracts? No, I am not leveling any fault on any, but it's for the leaders long before. Because if you go and negotiate not to the best interest of your state, then it means that the state has lost. So how then do we get the benefit? I hope you are getting. So, but you know the politics. When we came into government and we went to touch certain contractual agreement that were entered into by the previous government, you saw the politics. Even in parliament, you saw the minority group of parliament. They were on arms in our first year. Aka Energy, etc., thinking that there was something untoward government wanted to do. I hope you are getting. I'm referring your mind. Even look, if you listen to the former energy minister, Honorable Ajako, he was in the lead and changing that. No, these contracts, we have to look at them because Ghana we're not getting the benefits that we are supposed to get. That the operation was on arms, thinking that there was something because it was negotiated and agreed on their time. It shouldn't be touched. That is the politics that is not helping us. But who told you Ghana is poor? We are not poor. Ghana indeed is not poor. I always maintain that the problem of Ghana is our leadership. Very well. And that cuts across all levels. So don't let us sit here and want to say that somebody can use 4 years or within that short space of time to transform this country the way we want it. That one too, we have to get it clear.
Allow me ask you a question.
No, you asked 2 questions. I have not answered all the questions.
Very well.
That is so you have to say castle. So are we poor? We are not poor. Whatever that we are supposed to have and develop this our country, I think God has blessed us with that. We have blessed it. We have. So
why are you unable to use?
That is what I said consistently, right from independent. It is leadership. I always say that. Why still do we have to drive single rule, single lane? It is now.
Is it not clear?
Justice, when was the last time you traveled from Accra to Kumasi?
Is it not clear that the person who made the statement in opposition at the time had the solutions to those problems, which is why he made that statement?
Sometimes,
why is it the case that he is in government and he is unable to use the resources to manage the state?
It's not stringent. President Kufuor criticized the then NDC government in certain areas. When he assumed the mantle of leadership, at a point he came openly and told us that no, sometimes when you are outside and you don't see the realities, you think that certain things could be done a certain way. One was the number size of government. He has to come out and let us know. And the second one was on fuel prices. And that was the time I have started doing politics of fuel price politics. Because when the thing is automatic, you allow the market to regulate itself. What is what are you going to do about it? It is only the taxes that government has imposed. And if government decides to reduce the taxes, you see the fuel prices dropping down. Are we ready to reduce the taxes?
Are you saying
NDC never reduced the taxes? They didn't remove it.
Are you saying on this platform that the president, by making a statement that the Etisikasu Nanso Komodien was just running his mouth in opposition, he couldn't have done anything about it?
You can choose to say what he said, but that is the reality, and that is still the reality today. Are you listening to me?
I'm listening.
If we begin to do the right things, and I've given you examples that areas we touched and wanted to do that, maybe let's look at the interests of the country. Instead of we as a people being united and doing the right thing, we're divided on political lines. You don't want to say that one. When we wanted to review Aka Energy, why didn't people say here? We discussed it on this very studio. You all never supported the renegotiation of Aka contract. You all never agreed. So there are so many contracts. When you are journalists, you can research that were entered into that this government is not getting the benefit. But they are there. They are there. So it is not today that somebody will come and say, or somebody said, president candidate then says something, today the reality is done. He has seen the reality, and that is why he's taking certain steps to make certain changes.
But why are you not changing the economy from taxation to production? Somebody who believes in moving this economy from taxation to production.
I'm coming. Justice, 1,000 journey miles start somewhere. Credit government on one district, one factory.
So you think that also imposition of more taxes is what changes?
So we are not doing anything. So you are not seeing when the president he gave his State of the Nation.
How many factories are
read the State of the Present Nation address to Parliament? 108 factories are on operation.
You didn't build 108 factories from scratch.
You don't expect only government to do it. Government can do it in partnership with private sector and it's accepted globally. Why? So can government give support to private sector to strive and create employment for the youth of this country? Is it difficult? How can government alone do it without private sector involvement?
Is that what you promised the good people of Ghana?
I have maintained, if by the time NDC was exited, if they had been able to construct 102 factories in collaboration with private sector, Nana Danko Akufo-Addo has also added 108. That would have been how much? 216 factories. So we would have moved forward, going back then to the reins of Kwame Nkrumah.
NDC tried revamping
so that if any government comes to do something, governance is building upon each other. But when you come and you don't do anything, somebody has made the initiative, don't condemn it.
Let me remind you, did the NDC did John Mahama not revamped the Commander Sugar Factory? What did you do about it when you assumed office? The Commander Sugar Factory is still a white elephant. Is it in operation?
So after Commander, mention again.
I'm asking you.
Do you care to know the challenges, the Commander Sugar Factory? How do you go to construct, sugar factory, the raw material is sugarcane. And long even before, you saw how the farmers were complaining.
Okay.
If you are not feeding the factory with raw material, how will the factory survive? How will the factory
once
produce?
Again, let me remind you, once again, government would always want to attribute the economic woes of this country to COVID-19. But how much did government...
But that is the reality.
Government received a lot during COVID. The loans, the donations from outside, donations from within, and all of that.
Also mentioned when people were not working, people were asked to stay at home. Nobody was laid off, but government continued paying government sector workers.
Isn't it fair to tell Ghanaians?
It's not worth mentioning on this program.
Isn't it fair to tell Ghanaians how much you had received during COVID and how much you had expended?
Nobody's against that. Nobody's against that. I think Parliament, the committee, I've forgotten. Parliament has demanded that, and I know definitely government will answer to Parliament how money was received, how it was spent. Whatever.
Don't you think that Ghanaians would only accept the excuse of COVID-19 as the main reason for our economic woes when you are able to tell them how much you had received during COVID, how much you had expended? Who wants to know?
Who is running away from that?
Have you accounted for those money?
Who is running away from that? Who is running away from that? I have referred to, I said, I've heard Parliament demanded on that. And it will be answered through Parliament and we'll pick it from there. So what is the problem? Accountability, is not a problem under this government. So what is your problem? What is your problem? You are a journalist. When they are going for programs, do you go? You can ask questions. You can ask questions. The minister recently addressed the people, the media, bringing out programs that government has put in place to help revive our economy. I didn't see you there.
Then your government, let me answer this. Your government is so vindictive and selective.
Selective in what way?
To an extent that they invite some media houses and refuse to invite others.
Oh man,
and I'm telling you this on record.
But there are programs of government that Pan-Africa represented. That one you mentioned.
Government has never invited for any of their programs.
It's not true, my brother. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Don't go there. That issue, don't go there. Today, the number of people appearing on Pan-African programs, you are not mentioning it. You are not mentioning it, Justice. You are not mentioning it. I will say it is you are laughing. Don't be diabolic this morning. So this evening. So the reality on the matter is that, Justice, the substantial issue is politics. I want to look at the viewers and tell them that it's politics that the opposition is doing. If today they had also find themselves in this situation, probably would have also looking at the ways of reviving the economy and making sure they meet the needs of the needs and aspirations of the people of Ghana. Then I ask myself, what do you expect government to do? You said government is borrowing. Government shouldn't borrow. The debts that you have, monies that you have borrowed, it's compulsory that government has to pay the money. So government shouldn't do anything. But every now and then you are crying for development. So how do you expect
but why is it that government
country?
appears to have been preaching, you know, virtue in opposition and practicing vice in
Justice,
in power?
Justice, I'm refusing to say certain things here.
No, Mujib, allow me. You kicked against borrowing under John Mahama. You said it categorically that you were not going to borrow. We had certain persons, key persons in opposition at the time, now in government, you know, said certain derogatory words. Some of them even indicated that if it has to do, or if you have to do with borrowing to run the country, their 18-year-old sons and daughters are able to borrow to run this country. Haven't you? Oh, you've not heard that?
I haven't heard that.
But I know. I know.
I haven't heard
and
that.
I know that you know.
Sitting somewhere, I haven't.
But I know that you know that you spoke vehemently against borrowing. Dr. Baumia did. President Akufo-Addo did. Why are you now doing? I mean, something that you preached against.
Open your mind. You are a journalist.
I'm asking you a question. Allow me ask you a question. Why is it that you?
So when you ask, are you a panelist now? I think you are the moderator of the show.
No.
So when you ask a question, let me answer you.
No, but you won't wait for me to finish.
Justice, let me be very frank with you. Before we came into government, unemployment, because NDC took Ghana to IMF,
I see.
The conditionalities, unemployment, and a lot of things were not happening. We see in this country. And I can tell you, you know it yourself, right? When we exited from IMF, that is why we could do employment into the security and the forces in this country. That is why if you go to the nursing sector, the health sector, we employed a lot of people. That is why we have opened, and that is why we say that, no, how long can we continue? Just like the economy, we have been to IMF 16 times as a country. Where have we been? So isn't it time for us as a people to begin to think other options of maintaining our economy?
After exiting IMF, where are we?
You see, what is the problem? I just told you that, why are you refusing to acknowledge the fact that we're hit by unforeseen circumstances that we have no control over?
Unforeseen circumstances that gave you a lot of money.
What a lot of money? Oh man!
How much did you get from World Bank?
We had money from there. We have money from World Bank. We have money from IMF. We are not running away from that one. And I also telling you
have donations also.
It doesn't matter. But I am telling you that is why we're able to contain the situation. We're able to let workers sit at home and government continue to pay. A single government worker has lost his job as a result of COVID. And that is why at a point when doctors was crying of PPEs to be able to protect themselves and manage people who were being affected, government was there to support them. Why won't you say that to your viewers? At least let's credit government small, my brother. Don't try to just point the negative. It is not good. And you are talking of accountability, and I'm assuring you, Minister of Finance will account to Parliament how much money received through COVID and how much the money was spent on the people of Ghana. And in trying to contain the situation, we will do it. Where are we running to?
In opposition.
But I also want to urge you, don't be an armchair journalist. Try to get there.
What's your definition of armchair journalist? I'm saying that
you go to program,
I won't take that. Listen, I won't take that. I'm saying that. No, I'm saying that.
Go and ask questions. You don't want to go and ask questions.
I'm saying that this government, the new Patriotic Party government, whoever is listening, and I'm very serious about this.
Oh man.
The new Patriotic Party government is vindictive and selective. They choose media houses they would want to attend their government programs, and that is very serious. Of which they have excluded Pan-African television
let me be
on
frank,
several occasions.
So can a single program, can we invite all the media houses in Accra?
But they give invitations.
At least when you give these people to come, the next one you give these people to come.
Unfortunately, Pan-African television has never been invited to attend any government program.
I know Pan-Africa, and I come here on a different show and I tell you.
You can cross-check, and I'm telling you for a fact.
Let's leave that one.
So don't tell me that I'm doing anti-journalism. That is not what I'm doing. I'm sorry.
A program, I will make sure you are there and you ask a question. But I'm assuring you on this program,
maybe they fear the questions we are likely to ask.
You will get the answers to. You get the answers. Don't be worried.
If you are close to Kojo Fonkruma, who is the Minister of Information, you can ask him that in any of their press conferences if they had invited Pan-African television before.
I'll find out.
Very well.
Thank you.
So I won't have anybody.
But government has been very, very active, and government has been very responsive when it comes to during the period, the hard times of COVID, you know that yourself.
All right.
At least let's also tap government on the back. There are challenges.
I'll come back to you.
Let's agree there are challenges. And government is not reneging on its promise, working hard to surmount the challenges and put Ghana where we belong.
Okay.
Let's pray.
So are you happy with the current
How can I be happy with the current situation?
How can I be
prices
are so
how can I be happy with the current situation? Am I not a patriotic Ghanaian?
Okay.
When my leader, the president, admit that we are in hard times, but Ghanaians should not lose hope. He's putting everything in place to change the situation.
Would you ask us?
You are asking me today personally that I like the situation
why would the president
we are in now.
Why would the president ask Ghanaians not to lose hope and admit that there are economic situations, there are economic challenges, yet he is jetting in private, jets that will cost the country a lot of money?
You see, is it a different topic? Are you introducing?
Oh, come on, but we are talking about
but that one, it's not part of the topic. So
okay, okay. Viewers, you're still watching Hot News right here on Pan-African Television with me, Justice Appiah. Keep your messages coming in. I'll make a time and read all those out for you. Let me come to you, Elikem. I'm sure you watched President Dankwa Akufo-Addo on BBC. He defended the economic situation we are in. He defended the introduction of e-levy. He thinks that, the digital space is a market that is emerging, and there's no tax, yes, there's no tax that is placed on that particular market, and he thinks that it's fit for us to also look at that end and then put all those people into the tax net and all of that. He also defended the economy, so he thinks that, yeah, we have strong indicators that will bring the economy back and all of that on its feet and all those things. What do you make of that? And then that of the submission from Mujib.
Yeah, thank you so much, Justice. Good evening to our viewers.
Right.
I don't know if I will be allotted the same 30 minutes that...
You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
You can watch from 30 solid minutes, actually 31 minutes. And I will try to manage not to respond directly to most of Mujib's submissions. If not, I may lose my viewers because they are aware already of some of the falsehoods that he has peddled. In the first place, Justice, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has earned for himself the ignoble title of a pathological liar and an empty leader.
That is too harsh.
That must be said without apology, and I will defend that at any place. And if you allow me the time, I'll explain to you why President Nana Addo. It is very fair. If the President of the Republic,
I don't subscribe to those kind of politics.
Well, that is your choice.
But it's no good.
No, that is your choice. That is your choice. That is your choice. When the leader himself is not even making himself respectable enough to be accorded that dignity, he is not worth it.
I see.
Let us be frank with ourselves.
What has he done?
Don't forget that this is not the first time President Nana Addo is embarrassing Ghana on the international stage.
I see.
You recall when he was running a presidential candidate and he was asked about the cost of the free SHS and he became a stammer. The costing. Then, 2 years ago, at some women conference or so, when that young lady had to embarrass him because he could not tell what affirmative action was, and he lied over there also, that his government had actually recruited 5,000 volunteers for she. This is a president of a country making himself a known pathological liar, and we shouldn't say it to him the way he is. He goes out there on the international scene and embarrasses us this way. When he goes there saying that Ghana's tax to, how do you call it, tax revenue to GDP was the lowest, when actually that is also another falsehood, because Nigeria's is the lowest. Nigeria has 6%. And if Ghana has got 12.6%, and he also lied even about West Africa.
I see.
So this is a president who, I'm sorry but to say, is very empty when it comes to figures and facts that he needs to know about his own country. But he only takes some kind of excitement that is going on to the international media. Then he becomes a disaster. You see, he felt embarrassed when Peter Okoche was even putting some of the questions to him that, let's face fact, let's be real. The things in Ghana now are terrible. And he didn't want to accept it. But you were the same person who was accepting same in the country when you were delivering your State of the Nation address. So what is so different when he's telling you the fact? The reason is because he felt he was on a mission to attract investors, for which reason he must not tell the truth. But why does President Nana Addo think that investors are childish? Or why does President Nana Addo think that investors will listen to only him and his funny accent and believe that whatever he is saying is the truth? The investor does a lot of background checks. That is why we are in the mess we find ourselves. The investors are aware that Ghana is in the doldrums. And the president is living a very luxurious, unimaginable, reckless lifestyle.
But Elikem, you cannot also talk about the economic situation of this country without talking about COVID-19.
That is the reason why. That is the reason why the question has always been put: is Ghana the only country that was ravaged by COVID? These are the same apostles that tell us that they were known to have been the #1 or top 5 countries that manage it so well and all. What have you? I recall I gave you some statistics recently. The population of Accra is about 2.6, 2.8 million. We were told that they fed 2.6 million Ghanaians with food. Did you receive that?
Unfortunately.
How many Ghanaians received that? You were telling us all manner of things. We have the resources, we have the money and all, what have you. And this is the way you are dissipating the public purse. Can any Ghanaian watching us today raise his hand and say that President Nana Addo is actually protecting the public purse? I am incorruptible. Those were the words of President Nana Addo. What are Ghanaians saying about him today? So when you have a sitting president who is bereft of ideas, who doesn't have grasp over the economy, who just sleeps, wakes up and there's camera in front of him and he wants to talk, this is the kind of embarrassment we face. And so look at what happened at the BBC. It was another grave embarrassment, to the extent that he even felt so uncomfortable at a point that he had to be prompting the host that he should not be provocative and situate the matter where again. This is the president of a country that was a shining star of Africa. Today it has been reduced to ridicule, just because there's one regime that has absolutely no idea what governance is about. Meanwhile, these were the people who preached about competence, who preached about having the men, who preached about what have you.
Elikem, we can also have this argument done when we look at, the economic growth during 2015-2016 as compared to when President Akufo-Addo took over in 2016-17, of course, from 2017-18 up to 19 when, were hit with COVID. I mean, there were very good strides made by, President Akufo-Addo's government. We had economic growth at 7%.
I have said this on your program, and I'll have to repeat it here again, probably because there are new viewers also. As far back as 2016, the economic intelligence actually projected that Ghana's economy was on sound footing, and therefore growth was actually going to see a major leap in the next year, which was 2017. When the NPP and Nana Addo and Dr. Bawumia took office, what exactly did they contribute in that 2017, which saw the growth that we witnessed in 2017? Zero. Even though we are free to allow them to even take credit for it, do so anyways. But your true litmus test will be from 2018. And that is why the economy started nosediving from 2019 before we moved into COVID-19. What was the price of fuel as far back as 2019? What was the dollar when Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who I am told is going to even be holding a presser tomorrow after the president has spoken? I do not know what he is doing. So nobody can blame this thing on COVID. COVID has provided you the funds that you have refused to even account for. And I heard my brother saying that they are very transparent and accountable. When we ask that you tell us how much it is costing the taxpayer to be fueling the luxurious jet that the president is globe-trotting in, that we're told sometimes certain immoral acts such as Sawabroni, etc., are emplained in those jets. They told us that it's a matter of national security and they will not tell us. Then now the same apostles are now telling us that they will be accountable for the electronic levy. Mind you, Justice, are you aware, including your viewers, that in that e-levy, a whopping 241 million Ghana cedis has been allocated for a system just in order to collect the money? When the telcos can do this at free. So you can see that already, as they have even projected that 6 billion or what have you, close to almost half of, or let's say almost 300 million is going into somebody's pocket in the name of what? Collection, or creating a platform to do so. And I am not surprised the way things have turned out. That I'm told that active Momo accounts have dropped by 2 million. Active numbers have also dropped by about 600,000. And the Momo subscribers have also dropped by a certain 7,000. And I will be one of the advocates on national TV everywhere telling every Ghanaian watching me today that if you disapprove of the electronic levy or the e-levy, go deactivate your account immediately. Because this is a regime that cannot be taken serious. This is a regime that borrowed close to 300 billion, refused to account for it, and we must allow them to take another from us.
But he made a very cogent argument that up to now he's never heard any member of the NDC promised Ghanaians that when maybe one day you assume office, you're going to cancel it.
Play the devil's advocate diligently. You answered him already, letting him know that even our scribe, the general secretary, actually made it known that we will scrap that. And that is why many people have propounded that theories, that look, there are a lot of ways that you can cut, you can actually seal a lot of loopholes to generate funds. When the president was being interviewed at the BBC, he was told that a certain name was mentioned. One gentleman who works for one of the research institutions in Ghana was suggesting that if only they can plug the loopholes in the economy, our tax revenue to GDP could actually rise from the 16 to 20. The president said no, he was not going to listen to him because he has also got experts. Experts who are not advising you as a wise president. Experts who are not advising you enough to realize that it is very reckless, irresponsible, insensitive, and unwise to be flying about the way he was doing. And he's still doing. And this is a person who doesn't care what Ghanaians say at all. Because he believes he's in the extra times of his life, all things being equal. And therefore he will do as he pleases. What are we not saying of President Nana Addo and his regime?
But I don't get it. Do you expect the president to fly in an economy class when he's traveling?
But who put a gun to his head when recently he was going to Dubai and flew commercial? Who put a gun to his head? What national security assessment was done before they realized that for once it was wise? So what changed again? Let us face facts. The sweat of the Ghanaian is what you are living on. The purse of the Ghanaian is what you are living on. How well is President Nana Addo protected?
But what is the new National Democratic Congress's problem with government's introduction and implementation of the e-levy? Because when you were in power, you introduced a lot of taxes, including taxes on condoms and chalewotes.
You see, we have had those
submissions
where people have made, which has been from an ignorant point of view.
I see.
But
didn't you do that?
No. Let me put this to you, Justice. When President Nana Addo and the NPP, together with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was known as their economic whiz-kid, who was so well praised by even his spouse, were organizing lectures, running their mouth, saying all manner of things, probably because somebody was writing speeches for Dr. Bawumia that he didn't understand.
I see.
They said all manner of things about taxation. Today, what are we seeing? The reason the NDC is opposed, and Ghanaians equally are opposed to this obnoxious e-levy, is the fact that it just doesn't make sense to the average Ghanaian. That you're going to be taxing capital, that you're going to be taxing somebody's savings, that you're going to be taxing somebody's withdrawals, when already that capital or that fund that you are taxing is something that has already been taxed. So government is just saying that, you know what, I have deducted tax from your salary, but looking at how you spend and what you still have in your purse, I want to take something more from you. And my excuse is because COVID had ravaged us. The COVID you are complaining about, you have refused to account to us. President Nana Addo only told us that they spent a whopping 17 point something billion on COVID. But they've not told us how much they got. Since when did we become this reckless even as a country that would accommodate anything nonsensical from a regime and we cannot hold them accountable for the monies that we have actually put in their kitty? So let us get serious as a people. Do we really want to move forward, or we just want to retrogress, or we want to remain stagnant where we are? Let us face facts. And that is one question we must pose even to you, the media, as well. Do we want to only pretend to be that we must be an empire that would always be objective, or pretend to play the devil's advocate? With what is happening that you and I are talking about, electronic levy affects you, it affects your brothers, it affects everybody. The economic hardship where petrol price has now risen to as high as 11.30 per litre, where the dollar had broken the 8, which has rendered Dr. Bawumia as useless as the 1 cedi peso, the 1 peso coin. If you look at the prices of things on the market, it is affecting everybody. So you cannot even pretend to say that President Nana Addo is managing the economy well. They are doing this. At one point, they are saying that we are on sound economic footing. Then at another point, they want to admit that times are hard and all of that. Times are hard, yet you are refusing to even cut down on your appointees. Times are hard, yet we didn't see you cut down on government expenditure. We only heard you say that 20% are cross-border. We could not pinpoint where exactly you want that 20% cut off. So let us face fact as we speak it. The president has been an embarrassment for too long.
Right.
When I think that they should advise him to stop the international engagement because he makes mockery of himself. The fact is because the people you are speaking to out there, this is not, I'm sorry but to say, you are having interviews with someone like Peter Okoche. It is not like an interview with Kwame Sefa who will be massaging your egos and be putting some questions to you, asking you, for instance, how do you sleep? Do you sleep well? No. They will put the very tough questions to you. And you saw how the president was even avoiding the questions. When he was asked why he was asking an already impoverished people, he said that it's an industry. If this is not shallowness, what else could it be? And then people will say that, you mind your words. That is exactly what it is. The person who is in that capacity is not respecting himself right in front of you and I. So what is the name of respect? Whilst he is destroying this country, President Nadu is destroying this beautiful country.
Okay.
He is 76, 77, or 78. How old are you and I? And it is our future that is being mortgaged. And we are expected to be very diligent and diplomatic in how we handle it. So that he doesn't get offended because he can get angry very easily, very vindictive, and arrogantly respond in a certain manner. Therefore, we should spare him. This is what we have done, and the media has also contributed to it. And this is the monster we have been breeding, and it is now staring us in the face.
Thank you, Alika.
See the economic mess we are in, Justice. See the economic mess we are in. Today, when you step out there, how are people even living? I saw a video from your platform where a man was almost crying that ordinary cocoa, that was 2 cedis. He could not believe it. If you go out there to buy a bag of rice that used to be around 165 cedis, it is now 374. How much is a bag of cement? How much is even sachet water going for now?
Okay.
Let us face the facts of the economic mess that we have been put in and then tell them the truth. If they cannot do it, they should call for extra hands or they should just hand over.
Right. Thank you so much, Alikem, for your submission. I'm so grateful for your time. Let me come to you, Mujib. You would want to respond to Alikem on some of the things I said.
Yeah, but what I want to say is, for the trying to put a lot of untruths around, you get the opportunity, you can see it. I just Googled the fuel prices since 2014 up to date. And even under one regime, you don't see reductions. They are here. They are here. But you see, but that is our own hypocrisy as politicians.
Okay. No. Said me petrol price.
You listen to me, for instance. Why is it now you are? But this issue has been with us long.
That is what
you know.
But
do you know this thing? What do this CJA? What is the full meaning? CJA, Committee for Joint Alliance. Do you know, at a point in one of their operations, they went to Makola Market with blackboard. Uncle Kusifrate go and they calculate the fuel prices for the people of Ghana to see. So, but when Mill eventually, President Mill became president, he didn't reduce fuel prices in this country. That was the time they took on of fuel prices. So, you have been in the system for long to understand the fuel politics in this country. So no, I'm coming. That's why I go. That 2014 was under President Mahama, even to 2015 to 2016. Even that one, there has been increases. And you and I know, today the taxes that government has put there is also a fact that has pushed fuel prices there. And no government will come and look into the eyes of Ghanaians and say, no, I'm coming. We are going to remove these taxes. No. He asked you a question. You introduced new taxes when you were in government. What was the purpose of it? You see, sometimes when we get the opportunity, let's be fair. But if somebody also says something and you disagree with the person, but you don't say the person is stupid, maybe you are not seeing what the person is seeing. I hope you are getting the argument. But that is based on analysis. I can get it the way I analyze it, and you get it the way you analyze it. But I don't believe that sometimes when our leaders say certain things and we disagree with them, but we have to go the way of insulting. I don't believe into that. And that is just what I want to put before my brother. But when it comes to the issue of people make promises, and sometimes some of the promises, when you take them on, and they will tell you, me, I don't always want to believe it. That is why at a point I said, you promise, you give timelines. But they said political promise. But leave it. But we know in this country, when things were tough, Justice, we know what we're told. That Akadompenu, it was the meat finished. Now it left with the bone. There was nothing. That was the frustration period under certain people, leaders in this
But
country.
under this frustration period, don't you think that we have even chewed the bone? There's no bone
they
at
fail
all.
to appreciate what figurative expression is.
But nobody failed to appreciate. You see, but the people, Justice, let me be very frank. We are not appreciative. Today, in spite of all this, we have lies. We have everything moving on in this country.
Do you know that the light is still going on and off every day?
No, I'm coming. But
Even
it's
before you
better,
came here,
it's better today. It's better today than the Doomsday period. It's better today than the Doomsday period. When I entered, I asked you, do you have lights off? Because your generator. But now, ask me why I asked that. Because I've been entering here, and this is my first time for so many months entering Pan-African premises, and your generator is on.
Yes.
And that is significant. But during the Doomsday period, you know what you were going through. Doomsday period, you book us, we come here, there's lights off, we have to go. The program cannot come on. Today, why can't you? Is it because it's Nanado, or is it because it's MPPs in government? People refuse to see the at least the situation today and agree. People face challenges, but you don't run away when you are being confronted with challenges. Oh, fine. Have for those who want to do politics, well, they will continue. But the majority of the people of Ghana understand the situation we are, and I think that they believe and have confidence that sooner or later things will turn around and the economy will bounce back. And that should be the prayer of every patriotic Ghanaian. Don't think because you are on the other side you are waiting to come. If you also come and there are challenges, this is how we are discussing.
Don't you think the government is upsetting Ghanaians with the excuses they are giving? Because each and everybody who speaks on the issue of economic quagmire
all in my submission,
is either they are attributing it to COVID-19 or Russia
in my submission,
Ukraine
I refuse to cite external examples, but that is the reality. Even bigger economics. You see people pictures video queuing to buy fuel. In our country, fortunately, we haven't gotten to that situation. That is the situation. That is what we are confronted with. And this is not economic. During Obama's time, what was the economic meltdown? Drastic measures has to be taken to forestall the situation in America. But you see, that is, things will come that you have no control over. You know it. Things will come that you have no control over. But you have to face it. That is true. Nobody wish, nobody pray for COVID. Nobody know where it came from. All of a sudden, people cannot go to work. Businesses have to come to stand still. Borders have to be closed. Abba, let's be very frank. For how many years? 2 years down the line. Today, if you were the president, you crumble. That is the truth. But people, because of political expediency, people don't just want to hear that. You know, today when you Google, and you know certain things that are being produced by Ukraine and to the situation today they are in. You know, those countries that they were exporting those things to are now in challenge. And you know, the World Food Program, they have even issued a statement warning that because they are the largest producer of wheat and they were buying their wheat and exporting to other poor countries, they should be bracing themselves for fire because the country is in war and they can produce again. So, is it the fault of anybody in Ghana that Russia decided to invade Ukraine? Is it Akufo-Addo's fault? President Akufo-Addo? Is it Justice's fault? No, but if you agree, then you agree sincerely that the world now is a global village. Then don't exempt Ghana when there are challenges globally. Know that it will affect us. And it has indeed affected us. We are not the only people. But let the politicians do the politics. But when we sit here and let's be very frank and face the realities. Which government that we are thinking, we can say, we're empowered today with COVID and what is going on.
Okay, thank you so much, Mujib.
Let me I think we are far better than others, so let's move on.
You recall when during the outbreak of the COVID, when the opposition then were warning Nanado, President Nanado, to stay home and even stop his travel. That till did many of us believe that it was his travel that imported the deadly pandemic into the country. For which reason we were told that, please, for which reason we were told that some... No, let me tell you. Yes, so we need to tell you the genesis of it. When we were told that some 3 Ghanaians whose names were mentioned, and the 4th person was from a Turkish or from Turkey or so, who we never got to know. Yes, who we never got to know. That was the beginning of our mess. When it was very crucial for us to even close our borders. Please. Hold on.
What are you saying?
When it was, you see,
in essence, what are you telling?
So you listen to me and you know what I'm telling you in essence. When it was crucial for us to close our borders and make sure that we contain the pandemic, we didn't. We allowed the free flow. And then the pandemic came to now ravage us before we decided now taking steps that we want to do this, we want to do that. Look at the Togo border for the other land borders that were closed for the longest time until recently, when they now realized wisdom that it was denying them also of economic figures that they had to now open it. What excess measures have they put in place after opening the borders, the land borders? Absolutely nothing. And it will not take even a primary pupil who understands this to know. One of the basic reasons for which we are here today is because of the mismanagement of the economy by the regime.
I see.
The number 2 reason is that mismanagement of the economy has resulted into an abysmal performance of our currency, the cedi, against the forex. How much is the cedi to the dollar now? How much is the cedi to the pound? How much is the cedi to the euro? How much is the cedi to the other foreign trading currencies? That is the reason why we are where we are. Let's give ourselves a basic understanding of this, Justice. If the cedi were to be just 1 cedi to $1, how much would have been a liter of petrol? It would have been far, far low, right or wrong?
Right.
So when we have the cedi now hovering around 10.3 to the pound, above 8 to the dollar, above 9 to the euro, what do you expect? That is why I am told that even GPR road transport owners intend to increase road transport fares again even next week. It is the reason why Ghanaians are saying that you cannot be this reckless, insensitive, and be behaving like a headless chicken, not ready to listen to good counsel. When we were telling you, cut down on expenditure, cut down on the excessive travels, cut down on your appointees, cut down on this luxurious flight, you refuse to listen. Then now you are again telling them that pay something small through e-levy. You see how it has dropped by 2 million just from November to now? That should tell you that within even a year, it will drop by half. And you may not even get the 6 billion. So you may not even get 3 billion. And that is the best way Ghanaians can communicate to you that you have been very bad managers of the economy. And this must be said in no uncertain terms to the NPP. So they know that, look, you have failed to live up to the expectations of Ghanaians. The things you said, President Nana Addo, I will transform Ghana in 18 months. In 100 years, 100 days, I'll make Accra the cleanest city. And so many things. When Dr. Bawumia was running his mouth around that if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. He has been exposed by the cedi. I am sorry, but Dr. Bawumia has become worthless, like the one Peswa coin we have in our country now. And that is why on an image redemption agenda, he feels that, I don't know, suddenly Dr. Bawumia of all people will no longer go and hold a lecture at Central University or at any of our tertiary institutions, but he's looking for somewhere far away in Kaswa to go and do that. What a shame. What an embarrassment. The vice president, who is always nodding his head when doing everything, but doesn't use that head when it has to do with economic management of the country, he must be told that he's a failure as well. And it's one of the reasons why President Nana Addo is an absolute failure. Because President Nana Addo had a lot of hope in him. He had a lot of hope in Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He didn't know that speeches were just being drafted for him by somebody, and he was reading them out. He took over, and immediately when he didn't put in any measures, and the cedi seemed to have stabilized immediately, he came out. I have arrested the cedi, and then the dollar, and given the key to the IGP. Now it appears he has been arrested. We can't find him. Even if you ask Samira, we can still not find him. He is an embarrassment, and that must be told to him. Isn't it a sorry state?
You know he's going to
yes, so that is why we are finding him tomorrow. We can't find him. So if not for tomorrow, we wouldn't have known that Dr. Bawumia is even in this country. I thought for once that he has been ill and probably was flown out of this country. You see, he is ready to talk about everything electronic, but not ready to talk about e-levy. This is an embarrassment. This is the worst government, this is the worst regime Ghanaians are witnessing. That is bringing untold hardships, economic hardships on the people. See what is happening. I am telling you, the living standards of people, daily life activities of people, how much is a tin of milk? How much is just water? How much is lorry fare? Even it affects you. You drove here. You also buy fuel at the same cutthroat price. You won't be asked whether you voted MPP or you are MPP spokesperson, so they will give you extra. Unless you are also receiving the coupons, which obviously I'm sure you may be. That is if you are lucky to be within the strong people within power.
My submission,
you get it.
That maybe some people are feeling the heat more than the others.
Oh, some are feeling more than some are feeling. You think President Nana Addo is feeling like the Ghanaians are feeling for him to be flying? You see the lifestyle of President Nana Addo. Do you know how it is irritating Ghanaians? It is very provocative.
Let me, Elikam, please, let us be very frank to ourselves.
Yes.
I kept saying as that, let's be very careful, because today you are saying all these things. It is not the doing of President Akufo-Addo, but it is the systems that we have put in place.
So what?
He asked you a question. When President John Dramani Mahama was president, was he trotting? Was he in trotting?
No, he was not. He was not in luxurious jets.
Was he in trotting?
No, but he was not in luxurious jets.
When you kept asking the Minister of National Security, he told you, and you know the president. At least that is the president, whether you like it or not.
So he must live like that.
No.
Like an Arabian king.
Man.
Like an Arabian king.
Don't exaggerate.
He cannot go for jets.
Everything is grounded in law, how we have to protect our president.
And the law says that
2 minutes, let me go. 2 minutes. All right, gentlemen, wrap up for me properly, let me go.
So why did he try the commercial flight the last time?
All right.
You want to know?
All right, Elikam, thank you. Elikam, thank you so much for coming. I'm so grateful for your time. Mujib, thank you so much for coming. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much, Sewa, for being... Oh, please allow me to wrap up. Thank you so much, Sewa, for directing the program. Also, thank you so much, Titi, my sound man. Also in the studio is Foster, my cameraman, as well as my producer, Latifa. Thank you all so much. This all time will allow us on the program. Make a time with us. Same time tomorrow. My name is Justice Appiah, and the show has been Hot News. Goodbye.